Alright, so hi guys. This is editing me popping in at the start of the video. I'm also doing my little thanks for watching thing here at the start instead of at the end because this audio was originally recorded in early December, back when I was doing Art Mists. Why I talk about Art Mists, why Nicole and I actually promote conventions that have already happened and things that I've already done. So I was putting that in there. I didn't want to throw the interview out. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. I also want to say that, enjoyed. You haven't listened to it yet. Sorry, I'm editing it while I'm putting this in now so I don't forget about it. But anyway, this is much more. It was supposed to be an interview, and it ended up turned into us just kind of gabbing about being artist alley artists and much more of a podcast kind of format. So here's my little shill here. Also, I'm gonna put my monthly Patreon sticker here. I'm gonna try to do this in advance a bit more so people like know about it in advance because my YouTube schedule can be a little crazy. So yeah, if you want to be a patron, here's this month for January sticker. Yep. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the podcasty kind of format here. Again, the random background footage is just gonna be random background footage I have. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe and all that fun YouTube stuff. And we'll get into the video. Thank you. Bye-bye. Alright, hey guys, welcome to Art Miss Day. I don't know anymore, cause life is crazy. But hey, wow, what's this? An interview? I know, wild. Sitting here. I did this a long time ago with my friend Vexingly Yours. And I wanted to do this again with some of my other friends, some of my VTuber friends, my streamer friends, other content creator friends, and of course, Artist Alley friends, because I have been doing more and more Artist Alley. More of you guys have been here for the vlogs and enjoying my reviews. So today we have my friend, Nicole Brennan. Hey! All right, Nicole, do a little, what? What?
It's like, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's go. It's definitely not that we've
like
been.
an hour already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that we haven't been. It's not that we're friends or anything. No, of course not. It's not. We're not catching up or anything. But yeah, Nicole, please introduce yourself. Do whatever, promote whatever you want. Do a little spiel, whatever. You have the floor.
Sure. My name is Nicole. I am an independent, self-employed artist based out of New York City, and I just make whatever art I want to make. I do conventions around the country, fan art, original art, whatever it be, and I also do content creation.
All right, that's great. So my first real question is something that I think is pretty important, because this is how weird the world works of the online sphere, is you said that apparently my stuff inspired you to make stuff, and then when I found you on TikTok, I was like, hey, I could do this online shop thing. This seems cool. So, I guess...
Yeah, so what is it like? Yeah, I would watch your channel a lot while I was either working on assignments or drawing in my sketchbook while I was in art school. Like that's the type of content I like to watch when I'm working, is like other people drawing and things like that, or just talking, and that's what your content is. So like I would watch a lot of your channel for like several years when I was in college, and then of course after college and everything like that. And I forget who reached out first on TikTok, but it's like I think you either came up on my feed on TikTok or like vice versa. But you said that
I think it was because I had followed you for a while, because you were one of the first people I followed on TikTok, because I was new to
really?
TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't know. So ironically enough, so how I got a TikTok is a funny story. My friend, because I'm into might sound a little out of nowhere, but I am ethnically Jewish. I was raised Jewish. I still consider it a culture. Religiously, not my jam. I've been pretty blunt about that.
Like, I
know. You live in New York. Yeah. No, I trust me. It's a lot more common than a lot of people think. Like, I still celebrate the holidays. It's like religiously doesn't really jive. And when I was younger, I didn't realize that. But that's not the point of this video. But anyway, religiously, I am pagan, and so a lot of my friends would send me witch talk stuff. This is back when they were talking about hexing the moon. And
did you find me through witch talk?
I found you through witch talk.
What?
So I don't know how, but that's how I made. Because my friends were sending me TikToks, and I was going down these rabbit holes of being like, that's not how any of this works. And I kept getting more and more questions that I eventually just made a TikTok. I didn't even post anything on it. It was to watch other stuff, and then randomly, I don't think it was you, but it was some kind of art TikTok video, and I was like, oh, there's artists on TikTok? Where has this been? I've only been dealing with the witch talk stuff and the dances. I genuinely didn't know at the time there were different communities.
Oh my god.
Because I tried to stay away. So, listen, I was one of those people where I was like, I was trying to stay away from TikTok because
I don't blame you.
Because, yeah. T.
In hindsight, I'm like, yeah, smart.
You know, so, but I found a bunch of artists on there, and then I found, I dead ass, I think it was the first time your dumb bitch juice got, like, stolen by Temu or something. It was one of those videos.
Oh, okay.
Where it was, at least I think it was, if not, you were packing something, but I remember you talking about, being like, hey man, I don't own this design. Like, I don't own this. I just own, like, this color, this art, this version of the dumb bitch juice is mine. And I was like, I like how this person talks. And so then I went through your TikTok and watched some things, and I was like, oh, they're a really big art account. Cool. So I followed you. And this is, again, before I was making stuff. So you were, like, my intro into, like, art talk a little bit. And then I started following more artists, but I'm a millennial, and I'm very technologically challenged. I've never denied this on my channel or my streams or anything here. So I was like, how do I do these cool transitions like the boomer mom? And like, how do I do these things? And I was seeing more and more people promoting small businesses and doing more things. And this was the first time I had seen it outside of doing the convention sphere. And so it was during that time in like late 2020 that I started getting onto things, and then I was like, all right, well, you know, I don't know if you guys know, something happened in 2020 that was, tee-hee, not fun. And so...
What could it possibly be?
I know, what could have possibly happened, after March of 2020? I could never fathom. Because it was funny, because I had just gotten back into doing shows at that time. Actually, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back into doing shows full time. So one of my last
semester of art school.
One of my last conventions was, it was either it was Animanga or Anime Impulse. I cannot remember which one, but it was in January of 2020. And I got into a bunch of other cons because I did really well in that January of 2020 thing. And I was like, this is going to be my year. I feel it. I can finally do conventions. And then, you know, March happened. So I was sitting here on all this merch, and I didn't know what to do with it. Because, like, again, I had run an online store before. I had run pre-orders before. But it was on, like, it wasn't even on Etsy or Store Envy or anything. It was on a whole different website that ended up getting absorbed into Big Cartel. So I was like, oh, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Like,
got you, yeah.
So that's where I ended up falling into things, and I started following it more and more. And then I was like, oh, hey, this is kind of like my YouTube stuff. Because it was you and, like, one other artist at the time I can't think of, but where you would talk about stuff over you showing off your merch. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'll start doing that. And so that's how I got onto it. So I think you probably... Maybe it was you that messaged me first, I'm not sure, but I remember you followed me back, because I was like, huh? How do...
Yeah.
I was like, what? How do you... And then like, eventually...
I saw that you had followed, I was like, wait, I know them on YouTube.
Yeah. So someone said hi first, I don't remember who, but then I remember I was the one that told you that I was like, hey, it's actually because of your stuff, I got more into, like, having an online shop, and doing more merch, and doing more things, and you were like, wow, small world! And I was like, but yeah, so that's how we met and everything. But I guess what I should say too is, it might be silly, but you know, the question that's always asked, what made you want to get into art? Like, what made you, like, want to go to art school? What made you want to try to pursue it as a career originally, compared to how you are now? Because
my answer is, like, the same as, like, a lot of artists. So it's like, I was always drawing, like, you know, everybody draws as a kid. I just never stopped. And then what originally got me into it was, of course, like, you know, things like Disney movies. I originally thought I was going to be an animator. That's actually what my original major was.
I feel like everybody had that too, because I was the same way. I was like, in high school, I'm like, I'm gonna make a movie. And then I learned about the, like, repetition to animation, and my brain was like, you can't do that. And I was
like, I do not have the stamina to animate. I have mad respect for animators. I'm friends with several animators. I'm like, I cannot do what you do. Mad respect to you.
No, and I feel the exact same way. I want to emphasize that. That's not me negating animators. I personally think it's one of the hardest. I do think it's one of the hardest jobs out there. And I am all for all the strikes and them being unionized because I believe it shouldn't be a controversial opinion. I feel like if anybody works part-time, like full-time somewhere, they should have a livable wage and basic rights. But, you know, that could be controversial to some people.
Yeah, it was not the field for me. But yeah, like that's kind of like what first got me into art is like I would watch Disney movies and I would like pause the frames and I would like study individual frames and like, oh, like what like I had this realization as a kid. I was like, oh yeah, like somebody had to draw all of these, like people make these. And it was like a moment like that, you know, I would also
I know what you
read
mean.
comics and things
It's like
that.
it sounds weird to say you become hyper aware, but it's you finally realize that like cartoons aren't magic, like someone made this.
Yeah, it's like this is somebody's labor. Like somebody had
Yeah.
to make that.
I think
And it's like, oh,
my
so somebody made it, like that must be a job. You
ironically
know?
enough, I remember the exact moment I realized that, and it's such a weird thing, but I remember back on Disney Doug was on Disney Channel, right? Because I remember it was a Doug thing.
It was either Disney Channel. No, it was Disney Channel. Yes, because they had like a Doug live show in the parks at one point.
That's what it was. Yeah. So I remember I was watching Disney Channel, and it was one of those like in between commercial breaks between shows, because they were working on the Doug movie, and they showed how like a cell was made. And I remember because they talked about like they had like the guy or one of the animators be there, and one of the questions was like, "Hey, why is everyone in Doug like a different color?" And the guy like showed like the different animation cell like little things and the little like plates of glass, like not glass but the little like cells, and was like, "Well, everyone in the world is made of different colors and stuff. Some people are just green or purple or blue or whatever." But like I remember I watched like them like do the cell like in this little featurette.
Like
And
actually doing like the paint.
And again, and showing like what it looked like, and seeing one of those. I have no idea what the professional term is called, so I apologize, guys. But it was that like the little thing that like you put the paper on and it like rotates, so you don't have to turn your paper. It like turns the paper for you.
Oh, is it the like it's not a light box, right? But
It's not a light box, but it's like that, like because I've seen it like at Disney parks and I've seen it at things. They have this like little, it's like a turntable in a desk thing.
Yes,
and
yes.
so that was like one of the first times I saw that too, and that was my moment of being like, wait, cartoons aren't just a thing. Like I knew cartoon people weren't real, you know what I mean, but it was like, this is like something that someone does. This is a job. Like this is like how my parents do real estate and like stuff, you know. It's like I didn't, so that was my little eye-opening moment of that, and that's when I also was like, I want to do that. And then as I got older, at least in my sense, I myself, like many millennials, were told like, oh, okay, well, if you're not gonna go into animation or working in like a gallery, you're not gonna get a job. Like that's gonna be it. So I was like, then I guess I just won't be an artist. I guess I'll just do it for fun. But yeah, so that was like my whole thing. So explain how like what was it like when you got into art school and stuff? Like were you like, I'm sure you were pretty excited and everything.
So my first year of art school, it was highs and lows, man. So like the first semester, it was fun. It was so much fun because you know what it was. A lot of my classes were drawing based. Like I was learning Photoshop. I had figure drawing classes. I was like, I'm having so much fun. And then we jumped right into 3D animation. We got into rigging and modeling my second semester, and that's when I realized that was not for me. But I was like, I don't want to quit art. So I was looking at the other majors that were offered at my school, and I saw that they actually had they call it comics now, but it was called cartooning at the time. Like same major though. So it's not animation, but it's a major specifically to make comics. So I was like, that's a major.
Oh
here?
right,
Like,
I think I've heard of that. Isn't like your final or your thesis? It's like you have to make a comic, right? Like you have to make a thing at the end of all of it.
So the comics department and illustration department at the school I went to SVA, the School of Visual Arts in New York. They're actually like intertwined. It has the same department chairman. A lot of the classes intertwined, so you can study illustration like alongside it, and you can also have that in your portfolio. But what it is a junior year. That is when you do your thesis. So your thesis is done your junior year, and what we had to do is we're given a theme. Our overarching theme was location as character, and then we had a media list where we had to pick from the list and make a 16-page comic adaptation of that media. And that's what we did like both semesters of our junior year in our thesis classes. We had to make this 16-page comic.
Okay, so yeah, no, when I was in high school, because sadly I didn't have a lot of out of high school experiences when it came to art. I am very much a self-employed person. I've made old story times a long time ago about why I dropped out of college in my sense. But I remember when I was taking AP Art Studio, we had a thing called a focus, and so like every art piece we had to do that year, my last year, was it had to relate to whatever our focus was. So a lot of people had like a word or a theme, and I remember something my teacher really liked that made me very happy was, while everyone else was picking like a word or a theme, I was like, can mine just be monochromatic with a pop of color? And my teacher looked at me like, I've never seen anyone do that, but if you can make it be cohesive, go ahead. So like each one of my pieces, I made sure to be a different part of the rainbow, so it would like become a big thing at the end of it. And my teacher was very impressed, and I was very happy about that, and it's like still in my school to this day. My high school might be the best, but I was very proud about that.
Yeah, that's fun though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the best and worst thing about art school, if you're comfortable sharing?
Oh yeah. So, my art school was, it is, I think it still is, it is a private for-profit art school. If you know anything about private colleges, it really is, it's like, whatever happens behind closed doors stays behind those closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
So, there was a lot of not so savory behavior happening, and like, yes, this does go to, like, none of this happened to me, but there was always incidents of like, sexual assault cases and like that. Like, and that's not unique to SBA or even
that's it sounds horrible to say that's most colleges, but that does happen. It's horrible. It's not right. But it's
one of those things where it's like, yeah, and like it's one of those things, it's how it was handled. And it's not even just that.
Okay.
It's like the professors basically could say whatever they wanted to you and nothing would happen.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people like I don't know how you are with swearing. I know this is gonna be
no, it's fine. It's fine. If it's bad, I'm the editor. You're good. Don't worry about it.
No, I would have professors like, he would like ask a question and be like, oh, like what comic what's one comic that can get away with like not having perspective? And he would like look at us and like we would be like, oh, bitch, I don't know. Like, you gonna tell us? And he was like, it's Peanuts by Charles Schwartz. You motherfucker.
What the fuck? What?
I was like, okay. And then
oh my god. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, no. I'll tell my quick story after yours. Keep going, please.
But it's just things like that. And like, oh my god, like I'm not gonna say names because this.
Well, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, it's going on YouTube. It's public. Don't say names. If you want, feel free to do what I do. Look around your desk and name them something like Pepsi Can or some shit, because that's what I usually would do in my old videos. Be like,
some people I'm talking about. It's like I know them in my real life.
Yeah.
It's like some people are my friends, and it's like I don't want y'all getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing that. We're.
Yeah, and again, only feel comfortable sharing what you feel comfortable. Like, I don't want you burning bridges here. This is meant to be a fun. This is meant to be a fun, entertaining time for people.
Bridge, but I applaud it. So this is somebody that like I'm still friends with. We're mutuals and everything. So same professor that I was just talking about. Apparently, because this friend is a few years younger than me, like he was in SVA like pretty much right after I graduated. We met online. We actually met in like the Broadway community space.
Oh, okay.
So like he went to yeah. So like we met through there, but then he also went to SVA, same major, everything like that. And he had the same professor that I was just talking about, like same class. And, the professor was saying what he says, like saying whatever. And my friend is trans. Let me just bring up. He is trans, he's non-binary. And, he was making a comic with like trans and non-binary characters. And the professor kept hounding him about it. Just like, oh, like, why do they all have to be this? Why do they, like, and my friend called him out on it. So that professor does not work there anymore. And not because he got fired, like he intentionally left after my friend called him out on this.
You know what? That's good. I mean, it's not good that happened to your friend, but like, take some responsibility and reflection. So that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, it had to be done. But unfortunately, things like that are like very, very common at art school. It's like particularly private art schools. And they always make the excuse of, well, this industry, like it's very cutthroat. Like you're going to need thick skin. Like you're going to have to put up with a lot of shit. And that should not be normalized.
No, I agree.
No, we should not just be tolerating abuse, like, you can't just use that as an excuse to, like, abuse your students and say whatever. Just like, oh, well, this industry is like this. Like, okay, but maybe the industry should not be like that.
No,
Let's start with
exactly.
that.
Like, no, I've dealt with some, like, I've dealt with small pockets of transphobia, being a trans person myself. I've definitely dealt with fat phobia and anti-Semitism and stuff in my life. And I remember I remember one time in a workspace, someone made a very much, so stupid. It was a very stupid Jew joke, and I remember just like other people laughing, and they did the thing of like looking at me to see if I was okay, and they're like, "Oh, are you good?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. If you're gonna be anti-Semitic, I think you should at least be funny." And they all looked at me, and that guy quit. So I was like, I wasn't trying to be a party pooper. I feel like if you are gonna make those jokes, dude, make them funny. I don't know, like, you know, because I just don't think that stuff's funny and cool in a workplace either. Because then they were like,
no.
they're like, oh, so you're not cool with that kind of stuff in the workplace? And I'm like, no, dude, we're in a workplace. Why are you making jokes like that? Like, why? Like, why? What?
Like, this is not somebody's apartment at 2 a.m.
This isn't a party where we're all around the bonfire, you know, after the edible kicked in. Like, that's not what we're doing here right now, you know?
No.
Like, this is, like, we're at work. Like, what's the meme? This is a Wendy's? Like, it wasn't a Wendy's, but it's like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, like, dude. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know, so, no, and that's why I've always hated that excuse in any field where they're like, it's cutthroat, you have to have thick skin. It's like, so I should be okay with being dehumanized? That doesn't make sense to me, like...
yeah, guys, let's not, like, let's maybe not normalize workplace abuse and long work schedules, and, like, because I would also have so many professors be like, oh, like, you will die chained to your desk, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah! And
what?
No, like, I have to also be careful, because I have a couple of friends that were in the animation industry too, so I need to be careful with how I word this, because I don't want to get them in trouble either, but I have a friend that they ended up going through a bunch of medical stuff that ended up happening. And the medical stuff ended up drastically changing them, and they were no longer able to work at because they were working at some big studios. A bunch of people did the thing because their partner still works in those studios. And the other person my friend had to find a secondary job because, you know, teehee, it's America. It's rough out there. But they would do the thing of like, oh, well, it must be so nice seeing that your partner, like, makes more money and does all this stuff and still works in it. And my friend has been like, it's actually kind of devastating. Like, this was my dream and I loved this work.
Yeah.
But, like, literally because of medical things I cannot control and with how the animation industry is, I literally cannot work. I cannot do that sort of stuff. So, like, no, it's not really cool and fun, and it should be more understandable when, like, again, stuff like that happens. But in the animation industry, you know, they're like, oh, okay, you can't come into work because you're dealing with medical stuff. All right, where's the first person fresh out of college with a bunch of debt that's willing to take any pay? Like...
Yeah, that's what it is. It's hard. It's brutal. That's a big reason, like, I'm not even looking for studio work right now. I'm like, no, I see how y'all treat your staff.
Yeah.
I see how it is now, and I don't want to put myself through that right now.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm sure we've all seen, well, I know you're not on Twitter, but, by the way, check out all of Nicole's socials in the description down below. I'm going to put all of her stuff above mine.
TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and I also have a Patreon.
Yeah. So, and so, like, I know on TikTok, at least for a while there, before everyone did the move to Blue Sky, that, like, man, I would see, like, every 6 months, looking for work, my gig went up, looking for work, and I'm sitting here like, and this is not me negating them, so do not misconstrue what I'm saying here, but literally it was like, oh my god, I thought those were supposed to be the stable jobs. Like...
Yup. Nope.
And I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing amazing people that have big names behind them, and I'm like, why are you on Twitter? Why are you on Twitter asking for work, huh?
Not out here.
That's not how it's supposed to be, right? And that's why it's like, it's more understandable that more and more people don't want to go into the animation industry, but respect animation, because it's like, it's rough. It's rough and it
Yeah,
shouldn't be
I
this
know
rough.
people that, like, they do, like, like, I have friends that do comic covers for, like, big names. I'm not gonna name the names because I'm sure people
Yeah,
know
exactly. Yeah,
what friends I'm talking about. But it's like, they'll tell me how much they're getting paid, and I'm like, that's criminal.
No! Oh my god! No! No! Sorry. I'm starting to get so hyped about that. I was at a convention once, right? And I sometimes do in-stream conventions, not like in-stream. Commissions when I'm at a con. Like if a con's slow, I'll often offer commissions, and stuff like that just to subsidiate things. But I know my worth when stuff like that happens. And I remember I did a con, and I don't want to throw another artist under the bus, but this has to go with what I'm talking about here, was I had, fully inked with a minimum color, sketch commissions. Like, they were still under a sketch kind of a thing, but they were, they were a cleaned up sketch. They had, nice blacks. They had good line art. Like, I spent time on it. And I was selling them because they were also a little small. Like, they weren't, art card size, but they were, I'd say, 5x7-ish, around that range. And I sold those for about, $25-$30 because, I am taking a little bit of time in them. And, that is cheaper than my normal stuff, but also it is a sketching style, and I feel valid for that. And I remember at the con, I thought it was weird because I had a lot of people being like, why are you charging $25 to $30 for this? Because it was depending on, the character complexity. And I was like, oh, well, that's what it's worth. And I found out a person in my row was doing 8.5 by 11 full marker illustrations for $10.
Nah.
Yeah, and because I found out from a friend, because a friend got one from me and was like, oh, do you want one? And I checked on this artist because I was like, hey, are you good? And that artist was not okay. They were very stressed out. They're like, oh my god, I've got to do 100 of these commissions tonight before I go home. And I'm like, why are you? And I asked him, I'm like, why are your commissions so cheap? Because you're doing 8.5 by 11 fully colored stuff. It is fully sketched, inked, and all of it. And they're like, well, if I do any more, people aren't gonna buy them. And I'm like, yes, they will. What do you mean?
Clearly you have an audience.
What do you mean? At least $20. That's still cheap, but because I've had people look at my digital commission prices and they're like, oh my god, wow, that's really expensive. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I've also had a friend who's also done a cover for a thing, and they were like, oh yeah, I only got paid I won't say what friend, what cover, and what it was, but they only got paid $200.
Sounds about right.
For a fully done illustrated variant cover for a pretty big comic. And I was like,
sounds about right.
I was like, $200, bro.
Damn, we talk about the same friend, or
maybe we might have to DM each other and be like, do we know the same person? But no, literally, it was I was like, $200. I'm like, buddy, my full bodies are $150 right now. And they're like, whoa, how can you charge that much? And I'm like, what do you mean? That's not that much. Because I'm giving someone a fully done, fully rendered illustration that's, taking me a long time to commit, and I've been taking years for practice. You did an official comic thing!
Yeah.
Why are you only getting $200? And that's not after taxes, at least for the friend that I know of. They just got the check, because they were like, I asked them, oh, did you get the taxes taken out? And they were like, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we have to DM afterwards. I wonder if we do have the same friend? But yes, that was that whole thing where I was like, I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't know their worth. And also the fact that there are people, there are people willing to pay the price because they acknowledge that art is a luxury.
It's guys, you gotta find your audience.
Right?
You gotta find people that respect you.
You gotta find people that respect you, and you gotta do what you love. You gotta draw what you love, because I did end up getting burnt out on commissions for a hot second, because when I first started my, online art career thing, I was doing nothing but commissions, so, I burnt myself out of that, and that's when I started doing more other things. But, I'm back in it again, because I'm, in a better headspace, and I'm getting things done, and I have time for things now, so I'm also, I feel like my art is growing, but I can also give people what they want. I feel like I'm at that that thing. So, all right. Next question. See, I don't do interviews often. The next question I'd like to ask is, all right, what was the first ever convention you went to, and what made you want to get into doing conventions from just doing content creation and stuff like that in your online shop?
So the first convention I ever went to just as an attendee was New York Comic Con 2013. I know, huge convention for that to be my first con.
Nah, dude, again, I've told people my first con was like Anime Expo in like '06. Like,
yeah, that's another big one.
I was there for the yaoi paddles and the glomping and the caramel dancing trains. I'm there. I was there.
Oh my God.
I was a wee little fucking high schooler in the trenches. Like,
Yeah, I was it 15 in 2013. So it was New York Comic Con 2013. So I was 15 years old. That's when, like, you know, all the Hunger Games movies were coming out, and I was like just walking around this convention. I was in my little Katniss cosplay, just walking around, like, wow, like, look at all this, and like I had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like, you know, seeing the artist booths and things like that. I was like, oh wow, like that's really cool. Like there's artists here. And then, you know, I gradually started to like go to more conventions just as an attendee, like big cons, smaller cons. And I was realizing it's like, oh yeah, like a lot of these conventions, they have like artist alleys with like just independent artists like selling their stuff. And it's a lot of fan art and things like that. So the first convention I actually sold at, I shared a table with a friend, actually one of the friends I was talking about earlier. So we had split a table. It was a tiny little one-day college convention in New Jersey called a KogawaCon. It actually still runs. So it was a tiny little one-day convention.
Not enough people knock on small cons. Sometimes small cons are such a great pad con or a great way to step your foot in the door. Like,
they're a great way to learn. Like, if you're just starting out, because it's like the risk is so low. Like, yeah, like I always tell people, it's like if you are just starting out, it's like look into the small college conventions near you. I'm so for real.
Exactly. No, that's the same thing I've told people. I'm like, look for the art markets, look for the one-day little shows.
Exactly.
And like also, I think of it like stocks. Only invest what you're willing to lose. Like, don't go into a mountain of debt. You can watch all the Artist Alley vlogs and see all these booths and see all this thing. I can tell you for a fact, every single one of those artists have built up their display. Not a single one started off with like a 10 grand display. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
exactly. When I first started, I just had I had prints, I had stickers, and maybe like a couple small buttons.
Dude, me too. I remember my very first con was, granted, my very first con I ever vended at was technically a big one, but it was also my first time vending, and it was a split. It was San Japan of 2018. I think it might have been 2017, but I'm pretty sure it was San Japan of 2018. And
wait, that's like 2018. Like that's when that was the first one I did was KogawaCon 2018.
It was in 2018. Okay. Wow. Shakes hand. Weird small world.
I was a sophomore. I was just finishing up my sophomore year of college. That's when I started.
So, I had been, obviously, I'd been an adult for a while and things like that, because, for any people who know, 2018 was, that was a year. That was a year for me. A lot of stuff happened in that year, but I remember when a friend of mine reached out to me about it, I was nervous because, one, I'd also never been to Texas before in my life, so, like, not only was I doing a show for the first time, it was in a different state.
Oh, wait, I know who you're talking about. I watched the channel, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so, I remember, though, I remember being told something, I don't remember who from, but it was something like, hey, it has to do with, like, making your own luck, and it's a thing of, like, you only make your own luck if you put yourself out there. Like, yes, luck has to do with it, but luck will never come if you don't, like, take the step, so, something along those lines, you know what I mean? Like,
you gotta actually be proactive and do it.
No, exactly, you know, and it sucks. Maybe you also can't be disheartened to stop doing it if you don't get the thing you want, like, because that's just how it works.
You have to be persistent.
So remember being like, okay, it helped a lot that my friend was like, oh, like, don't worry, like, just cover for the table. I got the hotel and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I just have to pay for my merch, my half of the table, and my plane ticket. That's it. And plane tickets were a lot cheaper back in 2018 too.
Oh,
so I remember, my same thing. I had like maybe 2 or 3 prints. I had a couple of mini prints. I had a set of Steven Universe stickers, because that was it. I had a set of, like, like a small little thing of Steven Universe stickers, and I had my Coffee Siren TM keychain that is a certain green mermaid. I had that, and then I had, I think it was a Zelda charm, or, like, the only charms I had, like, nothing. And I was just so nervous and so, like, yada yada, and so many people were so nice. So many people from YouTube were there that were like, oh, I watch your stuff, I watch this person's stuff. oh, this is so cool that you're here. I had a lot of people be like, I thought you lived in Cali, which was a little weird because I was like, oh, this is that parasocial thing people talk about. Because I never experienced it before. They're like, what are you doing in Texas? And I was like, oh.
Oh my god, yeah, I've had people, this is actually at a lunar fair, which, like, I can talk about lunar fair a little bit down the line if you want, but...
No, please, go ahead, that's what these for.
They're like, oh, you traveled here? And I was like, well, no, I actually grew up in Jersey. They're like, I thought you were, like, from Los Angeles and, like, this big... and then, like, you know, I was like, no, I grew up in, like, insert small town of, 1,200 people here. I was like, I grew up in this tiny, tiny little shore town. They're like, oh my god, my perspective was just changed. I was like, dude.
That's beautiful.
Dude.
That's so beautiful. But yeah, I've had people think that I've like gone to like a prestigious college too, and I'm like, I'm a dropout. I've admitted I'm a dropout. I respect people who go to school and who go through things. My partner is one of them. I think that education is important. I don't think it should cost as much as it is, and I don't think that people should be in debt.
Yeah. I will be in debt for the rest of my days.
Hey, teehee, you know.
Oh, I love it.
You know, like, wow, that's such a controversial opinion that I'm like, I feel like people should be able to get educated and not be in debt forever. Wild, anyway. But no, that was like my same first con, and I was God, I think after everything, because I barely had anything, I only made like $500 profit, but it was profit. So I did like make everything back in profit. And I was, and I was like, I remember I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I did it.
I will say, my first con, I don't even think I broke even. And it was a cheap con, but I will say it's like, okay.
Well, you have like nothing though, because I think a thing too is like you have to buy your risers, you have to buy a tablecloth. Like there's a lot of things that you buy that you just have too, you know?
Like, to get the grid cubes, like everything. I didn't have anything. So, like, the expenses, it's like, even though the table was cheap, I had to get all of that. And, like, what I was making at the time, like, I didn't have a lot of variety. So it's like, and the convention was small. So it's like, I don't even think I made my money back, but it's like, I learned.
No, exactly.
Like, I still got something.
Yeah, no, that's how I've always said, too, for anybody, because I've had some people messaging me and stuff like, oh, how do you do it? What do you do here? And I'm always like, first of all, I'm from California, but I have had to travel more for conventions. Google is your best friend. I'm not saying that to be mean, but I have said so many people be like, oh, I got into this con in like Connecticut and I never got a seller's permit and they never checked. And I'm like, that's bad. That's a crime. You shouldn't be admitting that on the internet. That's not good. You need to pay your taxes. Do I like paying my taxes? Of course not.
Oh my God. But I have had people tell me, they're like, oh, well, the convention is nonprofit, so that means I don't have to pay sales taxes. I'm like, yes, you do. What do you mean? Yeah, people have told me this.
No, exactly. No, they have told me that too. No, like, yeah.
I was like, the convention itself as an entity is nonprofit. You are a separate entity.
Yeah, you have to pay taxes.
It's like you were making taxable sales. You need to, like, send in your sales tax.
Yeah, please. Because I remember a long time ago, oh my God, again, I won't name who. They're not my friends. I think we're mutuals now, which is weird, small world. But I remember there was this artist that was very, very, very big on Tumblr back in Tumblr's heyday. And I remember they were making bank off of their commissions and stuff like that. And so I just assumed, because I was a commission artist at this time, that they were also paying their taxes. Because I remember like a few years later seeing a post, either it was on Tumblr or Instagram, but being like, oh my God, I owe the IRS like 15 grand. No one told me I had to be paying my commission tax. And I was like, what?
I'm like, you mean your income tax?
Yeah, no, so many people I learned, because like this was years later. I'm like, and you were making bank. I remember your commissions. You were making money. No wonder you owe like 15 grand. Oh my God. But that was the whole, like, I remember that person was like, oh, teehee, emergency commission time. I messed up. And I'm like, how?
Oh my God.
How? Like
dude, like 30%. At least 30% of your income. Put it aside. That's
just put it aside, right? Yeah, it's better to have some left over than to owe. Like, that's, yeah.
Oh God, like that's, oh my God.
I know that they ended up being okay in the long run later on, so I was like, that's good, but I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted that I learned that there were people who were for multiple years just not paying their taxes, and like, again, I don't like paying my taxes. But what's that like Joker meme?
I hate it.
Yeah, what's that Joker meme? It's like, I might be crazy, but I'm not gonna mess with the IRS or something like that.
Like, what is it? I don't care. Like, it's like I don't care who they're like, what they're selling. I think something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's the Mark Hamill clip. If I have smart enough time to edit, I'll like try to slap it in where he just like gives the guy a bag of money, being like, "All right, go." But yeah, it's so true, and like so. All right, I'll say, what was the big and if it's like a sad answer, you can be honest here if you would like. But what was the big push to do more shows? Because you've been traveling and doing so many conventions now. Like I'm seeing you do what, like 2 or 3 a month now, like.
I just love doing them. I've always wanted to travel. Like, growing up, I was like, I always wanted to go explore different places. Like, I've always had like a little bit of wanderlust, I think people call it. I've always wanted to go places. I want to sell my art. I want to, like, meet people. It's just, I genuinely love doing it.
And see, no, dude,
not a sad answer at all.
No, I'm so happy, because I've had people tell me sad answers of why they're traveling more and more. So I'm like, I hope that's not Nicole, because that's kind of how I've been feeling, is I'm a little bit of the same boat, you know, where I'm like, man, I never realized how much I have horrible plane anxiety, because my friends have made the jokes that, like, I need to stop maxing out my speech stat, because I have that, like, autism aura. I have that riz where, like, people will just tell me wild things when I didn't ask, and it only ever happens when I'm alone. So, like, I'll tell these stories, like, oh, you must hate traveling. I'm like, no, I love traveling. I just don't like airports. The airports and the actual travel part is where I get the scary stories from. Like,
because I'm also autistic, and I'll say things like that, and people will be like, "Oh, so you hate it?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, no. I hate the travel part. Like, I hate the getting on the plane. I'll never forget this. It was so funny. I remember I was going to, I think it was Sci-Fi Valley Con the first time. Yeah, it was the first time. It wasn't this year. And I have had a traumatic incident where a long time ago, my partner and I only had a 30-minute layover, and the plane was late and the other plane was early.
No.
And we made that flight, but I will never forget me and my partner and our plus-sized asses running across the fucking Seattle airport to try to get to this plane. And in that moment, I always said, I will never do a 30-minute layover ever again. I won't do it. I will not.
Like,
I will never.
It's like at least an hour.
Right, at least an hour. But so I ended up, the only options were at the time, it was like a 6-hour layover or a 30-minute one. And I took the 6-hour one. And all of my friends and my family were like, oh my God, Michelle, that's gonna suck. And I was like, what do you mean? I have all of my stuff with me. I have books. I have my Switch. I have my iPad. I have my Kindle. I have all my stuff and my merch. I'm gonna just go pop it in a bar somewhere, and I'm gonna vibe for 6 hours and then get on my plane. Like, do people not realize that, like, there's stuff to do at airports besides shop? Like,
oh yeah, like sometimes, like, if I have like a stupid late at night flight, like, because I've done this, I did this for SAC Anime 2 years ago. Like, we left the convention center and we had like a really late night, like, overnight flight back home, because there was one direct flight from Sacramento to Newark, New Jersey.
Oh,
like,
Jesus Christ! I can't even imagine that red eye. Yeah.
Direct flight. I hate red eye flights so much. That is one thing I hate about traveling, because I can barely sleep in a bed. Forget an airplane.
Oh yeah, no. The only times I have ever slept in an airplane where my stress levels were so high, I knocked out. I don't consider that sleeping. I consider I blacked out.
Yeah, but it's like, we just dicked around the airport. Like, the Sacramento airport. It's like, well, we have time. Like, it wasn't like a stupid amount of time, but it's like, what else are we gonna do?
Like, listen, 6 hours is a long layover. I'm not gonna say it's not a long layover.
Oh, no, like, that wasn't like, oh, you're talking about your layover, or?
Well, no, that's what I was saying, because, like, people are like, I don't want to negate that 6 hours is not a long layover, but, like...
What is? I've heard of worse.
I have also heard of worse. I've been trapped in I got trapped in an airport this year. That's gonna be a video coming out later this fucking month. Because
I've got a story about being trapped in an airport. And this
wait, no, you too? Oh, no. Me too, Nicole, no! Oh.
Good.
Was it American?
Like, we'll talk about that in a bit if you want.
Was it American?
Yes.
No!
The Dude, I'm flying American next week. I'm scared.
Oh, Nicole, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish you, I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna hope for all the good vibes. Damn.
I'm going to the same airport.
No! You're gonna have to text me. You're gonna have to text me with an update. You're gonna be like, well, I'm stuck or I'm free. I'm gonna have to know.
Booty ass early, like in
right.
California.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
I made it.
I remember one of my funniest airport stories. This is a quick one, so I won't be bad. But I remember my connecting flight got canceled, but not my flight to the connecting flight, if that makes sense. And so I remember...
Did you get a hotel or...
Pretty much, I got a hotel, yeah. So what happened was, my options were either I stay where I was at and I stay in the airport all night. And this was a small airport in Louisiana. I can't say where because it's kind of where my friends live and that will dox them, but it was a small airport in Louisiana. It was not a big hub.
Those regional ones,
so, yeah. So it was either I'm going to stay in this tiny airport where everything's closed, or I get on this flight to get a hotel in a city. And I'd rather get a hotel in a city than be trapped in a scary small airport all night. With, like, me and one other person, because there was, like, 2 other people here that was that. So...
Oh, my God.
I decided to go on the flight, and, like, it was so funny, because I ended up getting... Me and everybody else got bumped up to first class, because, like, there were 6 people in total on this plane. 6 people to this flight, the connecting flight that got canceled. So...
Oh, my God.
They were like, all right, everybody, just... You're now first class. Come up here. So it was me, it was a random lady, and, like... I don't remember the other 2, but I remember the random lady because she looked just tired and she was like, I don't even have a connecting flight. I just want to go back to Texas because my connecting flight was supposed to be in Texas. So
okay, gotcha.
They came out and they were like, hey, so because like no one's on the plane, everyone gets first class. Who wants alcohol? Because I got free alcohol. We were chilling with the stewardesses. It was one of the best flights I ever had with this like little mini 6-person flight. The pilot was making jokes over the intercom the whole time. Like, we were having a blast. So, and then when I got to Texas, they put me in a hotel, and then the next day I was able to go, like, back home to California. So, but it was just,
cool.
It was so, it ended up being fun in that sense. But, like, again, that was my option, was stay in this tiny little airport where all the lights are off and I'm by myself, or just go to Texas and get a hotel. I'll take the hotel. I'll take the bed. Like,
yeah.
But that was the,
Dude, you said the alcohol part, oh my God. So the last con I did, I had to fly to, it was Twin Cities Con in Minneapolis. And the day I had to fly was the day after Election Day, okay?
I forgot. I forgot about that.
So I went to the airport. I was, dude, it was in the morning. I was bar hopping in this.
Yeah, no, listen. I've heard so many people make the gag of like, so it's still airport rules, right? It's gonna be airport rules for the next 4 years, like. And I was like,
I got on the plane and I was like, do you have beer here? I was like, do you have beer on the plane? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'll have a Modelo. I was like, how much is it? She's like, you know what? You can just have that. Just don't tell anyone.
That's amazing.
You can just have that.
Oh, I love that.
He's like, for you, it's free.
I get the vibes. Here's your free beer. Yeah.
And she's like, clearly you need this right now.
Yeah. Gotta love, dude, that was such a wild time, because I remember the same thing, not that, but I had to do, like, work stuff, too. I'm like, this happened, and I have to go back to work. Alright, teehee.
Like, I have to go to work.
God, what was that chart? I remember seeing a TikTok of someone being like, it was like, alright, do I still have to go to work? It is not important. Do my bills still need to get paid? Then it is not important. It was like, this thing, it's like, if we do not hit all of these buttons, then I will care. When we get all of these things, then it's important. It's like the Waffle House thing. Like, if a Waffle House closes, then the world's ending or whatever.
It's like, that's the determining factor. It's like, oh, the Waffle Houses are still open. Oh, we're good.
Right? Yeah.
Which I can't even do that. There's no Waffle Houses near me.
Me either. Like, I remember when we were in Louisiana recently.
I have diners.
Yeah, we have diners. No, exactly, same thing. We have diners or like mom and pop shops, or like where I live, I'll tell people, I'm like, hey, if you see everything in a different language and not a single person speaks English, but they have pictures of the food on the menu, you're in a good place. It's the best place you're gonna eat. What?
It's like, that means yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you know what's universal? The numbers. I know how much it costs. Oh, Lord.
Like, what is that? I don't know, but it's gonna slap.
Right? No, that was something that was so funny, because I remember I had friends visiting for the first time coming to California, and they wanted authentic Mexican food, especially with, like, where I live. Of
course, yeah.
And so, me and my other friend, who is Hispanic, was like, okay, how authentic do you want the Mexican food? The people who are not from here. And they were like, we want, like, the real deal. And they looked at me, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna take them to a place. And they were very clearly uncomfortable. And then when they had the food, they both were like, oh my God, this is the best food I've ever eaten.
I had that experience in San Diego. I got tacos in San Diego. I was like, wow. Wow.
Everyone makes the gag about the stupid avocado and the Mexican food in Cali, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, it's like, listen, it's like, I love Mexican food. I really, really do. It is not the same up here, man.
Oh, no, I learned that, oh, I don't want to say where. I can tell you, obviously, not on this video. But I remember I had some friends, I was visiting for a show, and I had some friends be like, oh my God, I know you love ramen and you love stuff like that. We have to take you to our favorite ramen restaurant. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. The noodles were top ramen noodles. And I couldn't tell them because they were all excited. I knew that crinkly look anywhere. And the broth was not good. Like, it was okay, but it was not ramen. You know what I mean? It wasn't like when my friends talked about it. And I had to be nice because my friends were so happy. They were like, so what's it like? And I'm like,
I'm assuming this was in, like, a smaller town.
It was in a smaller town. It was a smaller town. Yeah, it was a mom and pop shop. I didn't want to come off as that guy. I did not want to be that Californian person of being like, well, our food's better, like, you know, that kind of thing.
I got you. I will say, you can get really good ramen in New York.
Oh,
like,
I know. Oh, yeah.
I am not going to say the name of the shop because, like, this other celebrity already brought it. I'm like, no, don't send all the tourists there.
No, it's wild. I will never forget this. Cause, like, where I live right now, without giving it away, like, for safety reasons, I live in a very populated, Korean section of, like, the city. Like, we even have a little sign that says, like, hey, kind of welcome to this, right? And we have some bomb Korean food, with all of that being said. We've got some, like, really, really good food out here. But the best Korean corn dog I ever had was at this weird mom and pop shop in a small town in Pennsylvania. Like, I came here and I was like, oh, this one's gotta be better. It's in, like, you know, mini Koreatown too. I think that's not what it's called, but, like, that's kind of what a lot of people call it, right? And I had it and I'm like, why was the Pennsylvania Korean corn dog so much better? This is not good. Like,
yeah, like, you can find, like, it's surprising where you can find good food.
Yeah, you just have to go look for it, because that's what I mean. Like, I know there's good food in every state. I don't want to negate things, but you just gotta find it. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and, like, I will say, there are certain regions that do certain foods better.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, Mexican food in California, obviously.
Yeah. I haven't had it yet, but I want to have the banned in all 49 states hot dog that I think is in Maine.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, did you not know about this? Yeah, there's
some... that red one?
It's like the red hot dog! It's the stupid red hot dog! I have IBS, and I've had a lot of stomach problems, but my curiosity wants to know. I want to know what the red hot dog tastes like. What?
I said, like, what even is it? Like, I've never been to Maine. Like, what is that hot dog?
I don't know, but have you seen it? Look it up. Look up, like, the Maine... It looks like a highlighter red hot dog.
Yeah.
Like, it's the worm. What's that fucking... The parasites in me want to know. Like, so at some point, I want to have this hot dog. It might kill me.
Oh, I was like, dude, if we ever go to Maine, if we ever do a con in Maine,
we have to. Hold on, we're gonna hold hands. We're gonna get the fucking hot dog.
Just see us get like.
Yeah, just like. So how was it? Fucking Instagram story. Guess who's in the ER? I'm kidding. That did happen to a friend of mine, though. A friend of mine did anime.
No, I'm in the ER with like a thumbs up.
No, I will never forget. I had a friend do Anime Expo this year with the carbon monoxide poisoning that happened. And so they were talking about things being great and how great Anime Expo was. And literally their next story was them in the ER with a thumbs up. And I messaged them being like, oh my God, are you okay? And they're like, oh, I made a lot of money. I'm like, that's not what I asked. Bud, that's not what I asked. You're in the ER. What's going on? Like,
my God. Oh my god.
And so
what were we even talking about? We're talking about like airport cons.
I know. This is what I mean. Listen, this is what I mean when my stuff's conversational, you know? Like, it is an interview, but we're just shooting the shit and having fun.
Hope y'all like this.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hey, everybody's been talking about having longer stuff to listen to while you draw. I hope you have it.
Am I entertaining you? Am I being a good court jester? Like
yeah. Are we being fun? Remember, follow Nicole on her socials. Their stuff will be in the. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Christ. Anyway, all right. This might be a little bit of a hard question, but what has been either your most inspirational convention, like the one where you're like, oh my god, this is why I keep doing this, or this is like, I need to do this more, or just what was your best financial con, if that's different? Because I've known for some people, like, financially they didn't do well, but like they had such an amazing experience that like it negated it, kind of a thing. So do you have one of those cons, or do you want to just go of like the best con you've done this year? I'll let you pick and take a second.
I probably like mention like several different cons. So
yeah, go right ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, like every year that I go to New York Comic Con, so I've never actually exhibited at New York Comic Con, but I'm always like seeing my friends there. That's like kind of become like my third space in a way with conventions, where it's like I just have such a good time every year. I'm like, damn, like I love being in this community. So I always get that from that convention. My best con financially to this day was MomoCon. It was MomoCon 2023. Like amazing convention. Like people were so nice. Like, and that is a 4-day con, so yeah, there is going to be some like of course extra money there with the extra
exactly
day.
yeah it's like Anime Expo. You're gonna make money. Like,
yeah, exactly. And like there's a couple other ones like GalaxyCon Richmond. I love GalaxyCon Richmond. I always like, that's one I go to every year. It's one that I've gotten grandfathered into, so I can keep rebooking every year.
That's
like,
good.
I love that one. It's like I have so many repeat customers every year. Same with Phoenix Fan Fusion and FanX Salt Lake, which I'm still waiting to hear back if I got into FanX Salt Lake this year. They changed their application process a little bit, but that's one like, dude, like at some point I had a line at my booth, and not even just for people to buy. It's like a lot of them were like they had bought earlier and they want to show me that like they got like my print signed by like the voice actor.
I've had that happen before too, and that makes me so happy.
Like, they got my Voltron print signed by Jeremy Shada, and they wanted to show me. I was like, oh my god, like.
Right, I forgot you used to be. I mean, I used to like Voltron too, but you were a big Voltron fan. Like,
I was so deep in the Voltron fan. Like, I was a cosplayer. I was a fanfic writer for Voltron. Oh my god.
Oh, you were in the trenches. It left
me emotionally devastated. I never actually watched season 8 too. I refused to watch it.
So it's funny you say that. It's funny. Happens. I know you know what happened. It's funny you say that. My partner was the same way. My partner literally went. He's like, man. That sure is wild that the series ended after Shiro died and then nothing happened after that. That's wild.
It's like, I'm sorry. I would rather them just kill off this character than marry him off to this rando.
To this guy that doesn't exist? Also to be like, well, he had a husband that died off screen.
Joe, you know how bad that representation was? I can tell you this very short story. So I have another friend. This is like when Voltron was still airing and everything like that. He watched Voltron, but the thing is, he is not on any social media. And we were talking about Voltron, and I mentioned the whole thing with Adam and how, like, you know, that was Shiro's significant other. He's like, wait, that was Shiro's significant other? I was like, yes, it was. And it was such piss poor representation.
Dude,
that
again,
you didn't even know
it's
that.
so funny because my partner was raised by 2 gay queer men in the fucking 90s, and even he was like, that's not a married gay couple. What do you mean? That's not even like fun roommates. Why? Like, where's the chemistry?
They don't like each other, bro. Like, I was like, oh my god, it's like, you get nothing in this show that shows that they were like in a romantic relationship.
God, is
like,
it?
No.
Oh my god, is it one of those things where it's like, because I've had this happen before. It's been many years, it's not happened since, but I've definitely had some pretty ignorant family members who meant well, but I'm like, you mean well, but this is a little
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember I was having a family event, and my family is not this way anymore, but it's one of my favorite fucking memories, is, I remember I was bringing up how one of my trans friends was coming to visit. This is before I realized I was trans myself and things like that, and, my family member got very excited and was like, oh my god, your cousin has a trans too. They should meet. And I was just like, A trans?
Trans?
Like a Pokemon card? What do you mean? What do you mean? And they're like, well, they would get along, right? And I was like, probably not. This is nothing on my cousin. We're just very different people. So, like, I highly doubt that my friend and my cousin's friend would, you know, kick it. Like, who knows? But very different people, very different walks of life. But it was one of those moments where, like, me and other family members were dying because that poor boomer member was like, wait, did I say something wrong? And we're like, no, we know you meant well, but yeah, don't assume that. And that's what I thought of. I'm like, were they just like, man, we are the two only gay people on this planet. I know that, like, wouldn't make any sense logically, but it's, is that what the writers thought? They're like, well, they are and gay.
It's like, look, if we make Shiro gay, then you'll all be happy, right? No. Show him being gay.
Show him in a relationship. Like,
it's
show...
Like, dude, you can't just say it on Twitter and then not show it.
It's the same thing...
Whole, like, what is it, Dumbledore?
Oh my god, don't. Yes, yeah.
It's the same shit.
It is exactly the same thing. It's like, no, don't get me wrong, I like little factoids of characters too. I grew up with manga. I liked reading those little little fucking things where the character likes spicy noodles or some shit. Like, I like a little fun pizzazz here and there. And I personally feel like, yeah, a person's sexuality shouldn't be, like, a character trait. That should just be a part of their life, because that's how people work.
Yeah. It's
but,
show it being a part of their life.
But no, but show it being a part of their life, yeah. If they are queer, let them talk about being in a queer relationship, or let them talk about their ex. I don't know, if we could have that gag of Constantine making the joke of like, oh man, my ex is here, and they're like, oh, you dated Carly Quinn? And he's like, of course not, I'm not crazy. And you have King Shark wink. You didn't have to say that he's gay. That right there says everything. That's how exes interact with each other. Like, it's like, you know, like, oh, okay, Constantine, I guess, is bi. All right, cool, I'm gonna go on with my day. That's a cool factoid. Like, you know, like, it's not that big a deal.
And it's like, okay, with Shiro, at the end, you showed him getting married to this other man.
To a random dude? To a dude? Like, who was this man? Who was this man?
Look, and now I V-wed Shiro to this rando, and now you're happy, right? Like, that's what it felt.
It did. No, it was like, and here, we're showing them making out. That's what you wanted, right? Here's how the show ends. Here they are making out, and it's like, what? Why does Lance get to go be fucking celibate on a farm and be depressed? Like, what do you mean? Like,
oh my god, man. Oh, Voltron.
Oh, Voltron. Oh, fandoms. Oh, hee hee. All right. Well,
oh god, it's like rip Voltron. It got removed from Netflix recently.
I keep forgetting about that. Yeah.
It just left Netflix. They just took it off. Like, well, rip King.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, you don't need that anymore, I guess.
That era has come to a close.
Dude, when I tell people about the yo ho, a pirate's life for me, kind of websites and things that I definitely don't do legally. Of course not. I pay for everything that I watch. My lawyer.
Like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. But yeah, no, definitely. Anyway, but it's like, dude, that's why I always tell people, like, I remember people thought it was weird that my partner and I, when we got a PS5, we got one with a disc thing in it. And they were like, why would you do that? It's cheaper to get digital downloads. And we're like, because we like collecting things. We want to own it.
Like, physically
like, I want
to,
yeah, like, same thing with, like, on my Switch, I remember Nintendo did this stupid thing of, like, Mario 3D All-Stars. They're like, for only this year, we're gonna produce, because, like, you can still get the game, but, like, you can't, like, buy it and stuff. Like, where it's not being made anymore, of, like, oh, yeah, it's Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and, I think it's Super Mario 64, because if you didn't know this about me, I'm a big Mario Nintendo person, because I grew up with those games, so a lot of people are usually surprised when they hear that. I'm like, I don't hide it, I'm also a Sonic fan, so, yes, I was very excited to see they put the Pissed on the Moon scene in the new trailer, you know, we gotta love Snap Cubed here, anyway, but I remember when that happened, a lot of people were getting the digital download for their Switch for that game when it was in the eShop, and I was like, if something happens to my Nintendo Switch account, or if something happens to my thing, I'd rather have that stupid little cartridge so I can just get another Switch instead of lose that those 3 games forever. So, like,
yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, like, obviously, if people don't want physical media, they shouldn't have it, but if people want it, they should be able to get it. Like, it shouldn't be so hard to find it.
With it being phased out, like, no.
Because I feel the same way with...
It's like, that's a slippery slope into none of us owning any of our shit.
Yeah! No, man, I've read a lot of dystopian books. This kind of feels like how it starts. Like... Yeah. Because, like, I also, like, I'm a dyslexic person, so, personally, I really like using my Kindle because there is a dyslexic font on it. In fact, ironically enough, my biggest TikTok to this day is me telling people about the dyslexic font, and I had so many comments of people being like, why are there so many art things on this reading TikTok? And I'm like, I made one TikTok about the Kindle having that. The rest of it's all art. I just wanted to share things to help people. Because a lot of people didn't know that.
Why not?
What?
Like...
Yeah, I'm like, no, this is an art TikTok. I'm an artist. I like reading, and I felt people should know that. But yeah, you don't pay extra for it. You just have it if you have a Kindle like thing. Even if you don't have a Kindle subscription, you can download stuff on the Libby app to open in your Kindle, so that way you're not paying for it. Because I know a lot of people don't. We don't like Jeff Bezos. I don't like Jeff Bezos. And so it's like, oh, well, I don't want a Kindle Unlimited thing. You don't have to. You can download the Kindle app on your phone for free. And, like, while, yes, you have to technically have an Amazon account, you don't have to pay to Prime for use it. You can, in fact, download fanfics on it, like, from AO3. A lot of people I know have done that. You can, and with, like, the Libby app, you can support your local library for free, and they can literally download it right to the app. So that way, you're getting free books, and if you're dyslexic, you can just have the font there that's already integrated there. So, like, I like that, but I also like physical books as well, So there are a lot of times where I'll read the ebook first, and if I really like it, I'll go buy the physical copy so I can have it.
Yeah.
But I've also had people...
I do that a lot with comics. Like, I'll read it digitally, and then if I like it, it's like, oh yeah, I want to buy this in print.
Yeah, I've started doing that too, because I've been, like, slowly getting back into comics, because I used to be really big into them in high school, and then I just kind of dipped for a bit. So, like, I'm in the same boat, because I'm like, comics are expensive, and I don't have that much money, so I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna pay, I still want to pay the people their due, so I'll pay for the digital copy, and same thing, if I like it, I'll buy the physical copy, if not, all right, I ate, what, $2, $2.99, or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, all right, so let's see, here we go, okay. What has been either your worst con this year, or your worst con ever, that you would like to share?
Oh god. I'll probably do my worst con ever.
Okay, that's fair.
Because it's, man. So, like, my worst con this year, it was, I guess technically it was Atlanta Comic-Con. It's just because, like, it was just slow. And, like, but the thing is, like, there wasn't really any issues with, like, organization. Like, I've done other conventions by the same organizers. They're nice. I'm like, all I can really say, like, it wasn't for me. It was slow, just that. But my worst con ever, so it's one that I'm actually fairly local to. It's a New Jersey convention, so it's not like my expenses were high. Oh my god,
that's always worse though. That's always worse though. I've been in those situations where I'm like, this is a small con that I'm close to, so I don't have to worry too much about it.
Yeah, so... And, like, I don't even know if I want to say the name because
you don't have to. Listen.
People.
If you... Like I said, if you would like to nickname them, you can. You don't have to use a real name.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know if I want to name the con, though.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
She goes after people.
Oh,
like,
okay. How about...
Like, the organizer.
All right,
Like, she has threatened lawsuits for people talking shit about
what? That's wild.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. Don't, if that's the case, don't name the con. That's crazy. I don't know.
Crazy. I would love to. I've warned people in person, but that's not on the record.
No, exactly. No, and I get that. And again, I don't want anything.
I'm pretty sure
this is meant to be fun, tee hee hee hee.
I'm not trying to get this.
No, I got it. Why don't you just call it just I don't know. Call it like, what's a bad.
Hellcon. I don't fucking...
Hellcon. How about Papa John's? No one likes Papa John's.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Sorry for people
good.
who like Papa John's. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't trust anyone who likes Papa John's. I've only ever had horrible experiences and bad pizzas with Papa John's, so.
I only eat at pizzerias, but then again, like
Well, you're from New York, yeah. I'm sure your New York matzo ball soup is better than the stuff I'll make from home. Like,
yeah, I don't even know where to start with this con, man, and I gotta be careful because it's like, what can I say?
no, exactly.
Immediately know what con this is.
Listen, if you want, I can pause the recording real quick. The people listening, you're not gonna have the pause. I'll just cut it.
Oh no, like
but,
I want to talk.
Okay, all right. Well,
I want to talk. I'm just gonna tread carefully.
No, that's fine. All right. Well, let me pause for 1 second to get some water because I'm laughing too hard. So give me 1 second.
Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
People listening, this will probably be where I'll throw an ad break in. So editing me, write a note. I'll be right back. Hi, we're back. We're back. Y'all didn't miss much anyway. But yeah, Nicole did give me a little bit of a rundown of this con, and yeah, I can see why she's got to be a little careful with her shit now, because damn. All right, so we are going to be calling it Papa John. Fucking Papa John's. But yeah, Nicole, for what you did share, I would say probably emphasize how weird stuff was, and
it's like, I don't even know what to say, where it's like people will immediately know what this con is because word spread, man.
Oh yeah, no, I know, trust me, I know. All right, we'll just all right. We'll just say, for Nicole's safety, because I'm never gonna go here. Oh my god, after learning what that was, we'll just say that Nicole did not spend a lot of money, and it was still awful. And that's one of those things.
I broke even. I think I profited like $100, which at that point I was just happy. I was like,
yeah, it's something. It's something. Yeah, no, that's Even with my worst cons, if I'm like, at least I broke even. Yay!
Like, get out of here.
I'm just gonna leave. Back. Yeah, let me out. Get me out. Where's the? Get me out of here. Let me out.
But like, okay, so like I'll compare it to another tiny con I did this year. So and I had no issues with this con. I'll name it. It was Rutgers Camden Comic Con. It was another college convention. It was 1 day. So compared to this other bad con, which was like 2.5 days, this was 1 day. The table was like dirt cheap, so like that helped. But I brought in like almost $700 in this 1 day, and barely anybody showed up to that con. That's why I'm comparing it to this other convention.
No,
but,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
the vibes were good, and I made money at that one.
Yeah, because like I remember there was technically it was a show that I did. I think it was called Anime Days. I can't remember. I think it's rebranded now. It was a very small, technically 2-day con. I say technically because it wasn't in a convention center. There is this very big in the IE of Southern California place called Frank and Sons, and Frank and Sons is a huge year-round swap meet thing where it's now in the shell of an old Costco, because before it was like not that, so now it's like if you see a Costco that says Frank and Sons, that's what that is. And it's a really cool place. Again, they support a lot of small businesses there, a lot of trade show stuff. It's a year-round open thing, where they have like card games and stuff like me and my friends like going there just to go. That's how we ended up finding out they were doing a little thing. So it was like a little event in there where it didn't cost a lot. I did end up splitting, and I ended up me and my friend didn't even break even, but the con heads were really, really nice and really supportive. The other people were really fun. What little sales we did get, the people were cool. So that's why it sucked, because it's like, okay, I cannot justify coming back here because we made no money. But everything else was perfect. Even if we just broke even, we would have been I would have come back. But it was the fact that I can't justify it, but everyone else, I didn't think I had an entire bad thing to say about that thing. Just that it sucked that no one was there.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's wow, you guys are so nice, the vibes are so good. I wish more people knew about this. I wish we could spread the
exactly. And again, it's one of those I can't justify just sitting here for 2 days on a weekend when I could be working. I could be doing something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's always hard when it's things like that. But from what you described, the Papa John's con was just bad. Ooh.
Oh, it was rancid, man. Rancid is the word I would use to describe it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What are my last couple messages here? Because we've been going on for over an hour, so this is gonna be fun. I'm excited. Listen, I love
content.
I love these kind of videos. I love listening to them, and I know you guys have been asking for it too, so I hope you are as well. All right, so I guess the next thing I have written down here in my little fucking my notes that everybody seems to love when I do that now. I did it once as a gag because I like write on paper, and now I've gotten comments on both videos of like, where's the paper? Where's the noise? I'm like, all right, here you go.
Paper ASMR.
Right? Listen, I am emotionally a boomer, but not not with my intellect. I don't know where my gag was going there. That was awful. You know what? Anyway, take two. I'm not editing that out. I'm just say that. All right. What is something that you would have liked to have known? Like, what is something you've learned now that you would pass on to people as advice who are getting into... If you want to break it up, it could be if you want it to be like the online art scene, or if you want to stick with strictly conventions, because we've been mostly talking about conventions today. Or, like, what would be good advice that you would give to people now?
So this is something I've been asked a few times between like different interviews and things like that. And what I always say, what I wish I had known, and this could be for conventions, for anything, it's start with what you have. You do not have to spend a ton of money to get started. In fact, like you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't do it. Like I said, the first convention I did, I started out with like prints and stickers. Those are very cheap to make.
Yeah.
Like, start with things that, like, are low cost, low risk. And like I said, start at a small convention. Don't do one that's, like, stupid expensive. I wouldn't say start at that. Like, find a local college convention, or even, like, an art market, like a fair or something like that. Like, start with that.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, like, that could be a little risky, because then you gotta get the tent and everything. Start at a small convention. Don't do that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Because I made a video recently talking about doing art markets and stuff. And, like, I don't realize, like, backtrack. I learned that there's a lot of stuff people already just kind of have. I'm sorry if you guys hear that in the background. I don't know if that's picking up. Someone's car is doing a vroom vroom right now.
I can't hear it.
Okay, it's one of those I hear it. I don't know if it'll pop up on here. I love living in a city. Ain't it great? Ain't it fun? I like being able to walk places, but I hate the vroom vrooms. Anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I remember when I did my very first art market, I had like a very small, like little 4-foot table that my partner and I ended up getting for free from his work for camping. Cause literally he asked, he's like, hey, can I have this table that we don't use anymore? And they're like, sure. So like, I ended up getting my first table for free. And then, I ended up...
If you can do things like that, absolutely do it.
That's what I mean. Is there's a lot of stuff that you'd be surprised. Like, I know a lot of people that have family members that, like, they have, like, a 6-foot gray fold-up table somewhere in a storage unit. You know what I mean? So, like, you don't have to...
The way I got my 6-foot table, it was actually a Christmas gift, like, 2 years ago.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's not even something I asked for, but I was like, no, that actually, like, really
That's really helpful, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's actually something that I need.
Mm-hmm. No, that's something that as I've gotten older, and I feel like this is the way for many people, is it's like, do I want to get gifts of things I want? Of course, but oh my god, a useful gift is so much more, like, for me, thoughtful.
I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my god, a folding table.
No, that was me when I ended up getting my little table banner, my small one that has my logo on it. I was like,
yeah,
that's me. Like, it was such a nice little thing that I use at every show now, you know, and stuff like that. And
yeah, exactly.
And even if not everyone sees it, there have been times where I've seen someone, like, look at it and they recognize and they're like, wait, I know you! And I'm like, oh god, they found me again. But no, I think that's very good advice.
Yeah, like, that's what I would say. Is, like, start, like, do not spend a lot of money off the bat. You truly do not have to. I know a lot of people think that you have to, but it's like, you don't have to start with having acrylic charms and, like, you know, specialty things like shaker charms. Like, you really don't have to do that when you start.
Especially when that stuff's expensive. I don't think a lot of people realize how, like...
It's a lot more expensive pretty soon with these tariffs.
Tee-hee! Yeah, come on, USA!
I love being here.
Yeah, tee-hee.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but no, it's also a thing, too, where, and I've always told people, like, oh my god, look out for sales. There are so many manufacturing websites that do sales all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I've told so many people, I'm like, get on the email list. Oh, I don't like checking my email a lot. And I'm like, I've gotten some of my best coupons and deals from just checking my email in the morning and just seeing like, oh,
Yeah.
here's like, you know, I don't know, something like, oh, you can get like 50 vinyl stickers for like $20 free shipping or something like that. And I'll be like, wow, that's a really good deal. All right, I'll do something like that or something along those lines, you know?
Yeah, and something I will say is also, like, if you're working with manufacturers, like, build good bridges. Like, be on these,
Yes.
like, be kind, leave kind reviews, because I have gotten offers, like, if I haven't ordered from a manufacturer in a while, I've gotten, like, a personal email from them, not an automated one. They'll, like, email me and be like, we made a coupon code for you, like, we'll give you 30% off, like, acrylic charms.
No, I've had that happen too. Yeah, I remember there was a time
Yeah.
when, granted it was about a year ago, I think, but I remember Vograce reached out to me and was like, hey, we saw your content, we saw that you've used us before, because I did use them before. They were like,
Yeah.
here's like a little code for you to use in return of like a review or something like that. And then like I did the review and then they ended up giving me another code and things like that. And that video didn't even do that well, but it was just nice that like I really like their content and I've rated their stuff and I follow their coupons and things like that. And I'm one of their, like, what is it, the VIP gold member thing, because it was on sale.
Oh, same,
like,
yep. Mm-hmm. Which is actually on sale. I think it's still on sale, guys.
I think so too. Yeah, again, listen,
on sale.
definitely not sponsored, definitely not that. It's just I have been screwed over by other manufacturers in the past. I have also had friends give me some bad advice about certain things in the past too, that I was like, all right, I lived and learned. Maybe that did work for you. It definitely didn't work for me, because like, I know for a fact, and this is not throwing shade, is what works for one artist probably won't work for you, because everyone is different.
1000%, yep.
Because I remember I had a friend who was a really, really, really good print artist, and so they were like, oh yeah, I make most of my money from print. So I remember there was a time when I was starting out and still like getting my bearings of being like, oh well, I need a bunch of prints, I need to have a bunch of stocks of that print.
Yeah, no.
And I know I know this now.
No.
So whenever I make like a new print, I will have like maybe 5 when I'm testing it out at a con. Unless it gets, yeah.
You think you'd need to.
Also, another thing of advice I will say is, it might sound very, very weird out of context, but buy a paper cutter. Buy a paper cutter, yes, because you will save so much more money formatting a bigger sheet to cut into littler sheets than just buying the individual.
Literally, while we were on call, I just placed like another order for my next convention, and like I have a lot of 8.5 by 11 prints. You can put 2 of them on an 11 by 17. The print is like a third of the price.
Yeah.
Just cut it in half.
It's and because it's being cut in half, it's also shipping is cheaper because they're not also shipping as many things.
Yep.
Yeah, I learned this the hard way because when I first did my Patreon a long time ago, I still do it now, but now I do it at home because it's, for me where I'm at, it's easier to do at home. But I would have like brain function. I would have Patreon print packs. I love tongue twisters, but I would have Patreon print packs that I would do every like 3 months. Now I do it monthly. So like anyone who's this is not a shill. I'm just an example. But yeah, Nicole also has a Patreon if you guys want to check that out.
I do.
But it's 18 plus. It's 18 plus, right? Isn't your Patreon, or I thought it was?
So I have my $2 tier is Family Swim. That is what it's called.
That's what it's called. Okay.
Not safe for work on there.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so all right, there you go. So
I have a low tier, I have a not safe for work tier, and then a VIP tier.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so I have, with mine, I have a $5 tier, that's my sticker tier, where you will get a sticker mailed to you every month. At $10 and up, that's when you get a print and a sticker sent out, and things like that, and I do an original design every month. And then for me, those prints and or stickers don't end up going in the shop until 6 months later, because I want them to be like a little bit exclusive, or I make them con exclusive, so like I will have them at cons and stuff like that, but then it will go publicly.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Like, the main focus of my Patreon is like that's where you can buy my fan art.
Like
you have access to my fan art catalog on there.
No, exactly. And honestly, with how things are going, I'm probably gonna take. I when you did that, I'm like, I might do that because I'm getting a little bit of the nasty little dings, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to lose my shop.
It's getting nasty out here. Yep.
Listen, we've all done the hee hee hoo ha's, the silly names. They're getting smarter. We can't get away with that anymore.
It's
but
because everybody, I know that's what y'all want. I know you'll want fan art, and I know you like fan art. I like making fan art, but like, yeah, it's Patreon and conventions. That's the only place you can find. The only exception was Black Friday weekend. It was open access for 4 days. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And that makes sense. It's a Black Friday sale, and wasn't a bunch of your stuff for pre-order too, like.
A lot of it was pre-order, yeah, and it's like I'm still waiting on like a couple more items. I was actually just my friend is pressing buttons right now. Is another thing. I'm a multitasker. I was just texting her right now.
Oh, I'm the same, dude. No. I'm the same way. Don't feel bad about that. I'm
literally ordering prints, designing a charm, and in contact with my button presser right as we're doing this call.
Yeah, see, listen, yeah, gotta love being a workaholic. But no, man, again, we gotta love that autistic riz. We gotta learn how to do many hats at one time. But no, that was what I was getting at there was back to the print thing was because and I'll admit it was me being lazy. I didn't want to deal with it. I had a paper cutter. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to cut out every single thing. But after doing the math, I'm like, oh, I'm losing money getting the 5x7 hand cut full bleed prints.
Yup, instead of pricey. The smaller ones are pricier than the big ones.
Oh yeah, no, exactly, and that's when I realized I'm like, oh, it's easier if I just did the bigger ones. So I did the bigger ones. And then I ended up having some issues in the past. So now where I'm at currently, like obviously if my Patreon ends up blowing up anytime soon, I'll probably have to offset and then hand cut at home. But I currently I have the time that I can just print on my printer. I have I have a Canon Pixma Pro, not sponsored. I paid for it. But it does the job. It does my prints. It does my stickers that I do from home. I'm at a stage now though where the only things I really make at home is when I'm testing a design. Now I get my stickers offset printed because like I don't like dealing with the mess when you have at least for me, I've had way more like miscuts and miss things when I'm sitting here like that's just ink going down the drain when I could have just gone to like Sticker Blitz or something. I make all my
stickers at home. Yep, I get it.
So it's one of those like if I'm hesitant about a design, I'll print it at home. I'll laminate, I'll do all the stuff, I'll see how it goes, and if it does really, really well, then I'll offset it. That's where I'm at now. So
yeah, smart. Yep.
But yeah, let's see. I think. All right. No. Is that really all I have?
Oh, I can tell you the airport story.
Oh yeah, like you know what? Yeah, let's end off with the airport story. Let's go, cause that's the last of my things. Is like, what's advice you'd give to people? And it's again, I don't do interviews often, so.
And I would 100% be down to like just doing another artist chat video if you wanted to.
Dude, I would be so down again too. I love talking. You know what? Let's do that. All right, chat. This is not. And before people try being like, oh, it's algorithm based. It's not. If you have any questions down below, I can gather up stuff, and me and Nicole can do another video. Probably not in December, because like she said, she's got another con coming up and the holidays. But maybe after ALA, because we're both gonna be there. We're actually both gonna be vending there. So not together, but and we're doing a stamp rally. That's right. If you guys like Deadpool and Wolverine,
it's literally gonna be a 2-person stamp rally. One of us has Wade, one of us has Logan.
Right? Teehee, I gotta love you, Pookie. Come on, let's go. Sorry. All right. But again, comment below if you have questions for me or for Nicole, and I would definitely totally be down for doing another one of these. This was a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun here. So yeah.
This was fun, yeah.
Please share your airport story.
God, where do I even fucking start? So this is I was going to C2E2 in Chicago with 2 of my friends. Me and my friend are gonna share the table, and then it was her boyfriend, who I'm also friends with. He's coming as our table like assistant. And we were flying.
We need a booth, babe. Come on, we have to have a booth, babe.
But it's like we were flying out of New York. It's like we had a morning flight into Chicago. It's like we're gonna get there early. We can chill out. We can go to the city a bit. It's gonna be great. So that didn't happen. So, there was apparently very, very bad weather between Chicago and New York that day. And we were like going to our gate. We were waiting. Flight gets canceled, and I have like notifications, like American Airlines notifications set up on my phone, so I could see what's going on. Like I had booked the ticket, so I had all the information. The first thing they were doing, they kept moving our gate around like 5 times. We like went to different gates, It's like, okay.
I hate when
Yeah, I
that
was like,
happens.
that's fun. Yeah. And then like, okay, it's like, look, we're actually going to board at this gate. Great. We literally scan our boarding passes, board the plane, or sat on the plane, sitting. Sitting. It's like, okay, so we're not going to take off.
Oh God, this is so close
Yeah.
to mine. Oh no.
So they're like, so we don't, like, they said something about staff. This was not about weather. Like, so we're not going to take off. You need to leave the plane and find other options. I was like, I'm sorry? So, like, we get off the plane. We literally get in, like, the helpline, like, the American Airlines, like, helpline. And I'm, like, trying to get somebody on the phone while we're standing in the physical line. I was like, dude, we need to get to Chicago. Like, we need to get to fucking Chicago. Like, this is ridiculous. And they're like, okay, well, like, do you live nearby? Or, like, yeah, they're like, we can get you a hotel. I'm like, no. Plane. Flight to Chicago today. I was like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, okay. They're like, well, we can get you on this plane. I was like, that's great. They're like, no, I was like, the only problem is like, we don't have enough seats on this one plane, so we're gonna have to split you guys between 2 flights. I'm like, well, that sucks, but sure. Are they both going to Chicago today? Sure. Fine. Whatever. So it's like, we get our new boarding passes. Like, me and my other artist friend were gonna be on the other plane, and then her boyfriend was gonna take a separate flight. I was like, all right, that's really fucking annoying. Whatever, though. He was gonna board maybe like a half hour later or something like that. We get on the plane, and this is like hours later, by the way. We had to wait hours, like all day in this airport, like 10 plus hours in the airport. So by the time it's night, by the time like my friend and I are sat on the plane, we're like, she's like, I'm looking at her. She's like 1 row up on the other side, and I'm looking, I'm like, there's an empty seat next to her. Nobody's sitting there. There's an empty seat next to her. So I'm like texting like her boyfriend, like, I was like, go yell at this gate agent, because like they're done boarding and there's an empty seat on this plane. Like, you can get on this plane. He's like, what? I was like, go yell at these people.
Yeah.
Go yell at these people. He's like, oh really? He's like, yeah, because they just canceled my flight and the next one isn't until 6 a.m. the following day. I was like, go yell at these people. Go yell at them. So they didn't let him on the plane.
Oh my God.
So there was just an empty seat next to her that he could have sat on.
Stop.
Yeah. So we took off. He was left at the LaGuardia
Airport.
Overnight. Yeah. And I woke up to just a bunch of, he was just like taking pictures of people's like dogs out, their grippers. He was like losing his mind, like overnight.
You know what? After my experience,
we get to Chicago.
Yeah.
We get there, and what had happened? My friend's bags didn't make it. So they left her boyfriend and her bags in New York.
This anxiety is giving me IBS. Oh my God, this is awful.
So I was like, okay. So we like go up to American Airlines in O'Hare, like, hey, so what are you gonna do about this? It's like, oh, well, look at that. They're still in New York. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Oh my God.
It's like, because the carousels, they put mine on, not hers though.
Oh God.
That makes sense. I was like, okay. They're like, well, we can like send it on like the plane that like your boyfriend's gonna be on tomorrow.
Oh my
and then
God.
Drive it to the hotel. So it's like, okay. So then it's like, okay, I guess we'll just leave the airport. So then we're going to like try to get a car to where we were staying. No Ubers were coming. Like, I'm sorry, there's no Ubers available. I'm like, it's Chicago. This is a major city.
Wait, what do you mean there's no Ubers? What do you mean?
I was trying to call an Uber, and I was like, that's funny. There's no drivers in your area. I was like, I'm sorry? Yeah. It was one thing after another, man. I was like, okay, so I download the Lyft app.
Stop.
I download a $98 Lyft ride to the Airbnb. I was like, okay.
Oh, that's gross.
So we get there, we were just disheveled at this point. We get there at like midnight, and keep in mind, we were supposed to have an early morning flight. We didn't get there till midnight. We're like, well, this has been a horrible fucking day. Let's just go to bed. So it's like, okay, get up. Her boyfriend does arrive the next day. He walks through the door just like, and I was like, there's already coffee on. He's like, oh, thank you.
Oh my God,
like, literally, her luggage doesn't arrive until late that night, and we open it up. She had snacks in there. TSA went through and ate it.
What?
They opened the snacks and ate it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a lot, right? That was a lot.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, yeah, next week, actually on Wednesday, I'm flying American Airlines to the same
Good
airport.
luck! Good luck!
I'm scared, man!
Oh, God. I hope you don't have another $98. Jesus. Oh, my God. I can't.
No, I won't. I won't, because remember, this convention has that free airport shuttle.
Right. That's right. Oh, at least there's that.
No, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing
Oh, my God. All right.
American Airlines I'm afraid of.
Yeah, listen, I won't put it in this video because I want to make a video for Art Miss where I'm talking about my experience. I'll tell you after we end here, Nicole, so don't worry. I'm not going to leave you hanging. You'll get the tea. Sorry guys, sorry listeners, love you, but we're in the call now. Might as well. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a great way to end off. I think that's everything. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here. Let us know if you would love for us to do this. This was so much fun. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Is there anything you want to shell out, Nicole, or any other cons? I know I said, like, I'm doing ALA. I know you're doing your one in December now. Is there anything else you want to shell out or anything else you want to promote?
Yeah, so next weekend I'm going to be at Con Alt Elite in Rosemont, Illinois, or Chicago. It's right by O'Hare Airport in Chicago. And then, yeah, we're going to be at LA together next month, Anime Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following weekend, I'm literally flying right from from LA.
I know, you got a bunch. From what I've seen, your 2025 is packed.
Yeah, and I still have a lot of other applications I'm waiting to hear back from. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm currently waitlisted on a lot of them as well. So that's why I'm like, just let me know. Just let me get in. Get me out of waitlist jail, please.
But yeah, it's like January I've got ALA and Kawakan, and then I guess February is close enough where I can say this too. I'm going to be at Animate Miami, and then Con Nuga in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Nice. All right, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's like the next 3 months of cons.
Yeah. And
I do have more after that, but I feel like that's pushing it.
No, I got you. Don't worry about it. So yeah, thanks guys again.
My whole schedule is on my site, yeah.
And again, all that'll be linked down below. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.